All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Sam Shannon, the North America rep for Apple Tree, joining us today. He's perfectly positioned himself at the hatchery on the white salmon side. And yeah, give him a warm welcome. And it'd be nice to hear a little bit about you, Sam.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Josh. I just got done with a run, hopped on here, and excited to chat. I'm the North American rep for Apple Tree, so I live here in the Gorge and White Salmon, just across the river from Hood River. Hatch is my home spot. Absolutely love it. Um, do all things foiling. Just this year,
Yeah, I was
getting into the foil drive scene. It's been great.
yeah, I was fortunate enough to meet you last year when Paul Cooper and myself were there, and you showed us a couple runs and. Yeah, it's cool to see the scene that you have there. Like, I feel like everyone goes between all the different disciplines. No one's like strictly one discipline. Like I've seen, you on the SUP, the Parawing, now the foil drive. You've kind of just got like a Disneyland there of whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah, we're pretty spoiled. It's, the conditions are really great for whatever activity you wanna do out there. Some days if you're feeling the wing, you can just park up at the top and go get waves after waves. It's nice to have all of those in your tool belt here because even though we are super spoiled, we end up getting picky. If it's like super gusty or the wind was blowing all day, it's great to put out the foil drive or after and get some laps in or whatever it may be. It's pretty sweet.
So give us a quick history of how you ended up in Hood River, how you ended up being the North America rep for Apple Tree. I'm just curious to hear a little bit
Yeah,
about you.
yeah, sure. I grew up on the East Coast, and I got into foiling through a friend of mine and his dad. They taught me, and then I was just like kind of like moderately into it. It's a little hobby for me, and work kind of tapered off for me on the East Coast, and I had an opportunity to come out to the Gorge, and I was one of the classics, like, oh yeah, I'll just go check it out for the summer, and then we'll see what's next. And I landed at Big Winds actually for just a summer job, and those guys were super awesome. And I worked there for a few years and really got addicted into the foiling world. And yeah, decided the next step was I wanted to be, on the brand side of things, get a little bit more into the product development side, the sales side, and focus really on one line of products. And that's what led me to Apple Tree. I had met Viher, one of the brothers who founded Apple Tree. He came for AWSI and I met him and we got along good. So I actually just reached out and it was a really good fit. So they were awesome enough to kind of make a position for me doing the North American sales. And Viher and I and the rest of the Apple Tree team have really been growing the product here in North America, and we've been super happy with it.
Because Apple Tree, for people who don't know, they're a European brand, right? And they kind of had their roots in, was it kite surfing or?
Yeah, well, very originally, yes, they are a European brand. They are technically a Dutch brand, but now most of their operations are out of Portugal. Their original roots were actually in surfing, started making surfboards. And then, yeah, kite surfing is when it really sort of moved from hobby to business, making kite surfboards that, didn't break. When kite surfing first sort of started coming around, everyone was just using regular old surfboards and, snapping them all the time, just based on the loads that the kiters put on the boards. So Viher and his brother Jort sought to make a board that didn't snap. And they're bigger dudes too and ride them really hard. So they really needed it. And it all derived from that. A lot of success in the construction process of the kite surfboard. And we use a proprietary foam. It's a closed celled super high density foam that is waterproof and super strong. And that foam itself is really hard to lay up fiberglass or carbon on. And they figured out a way to do it consistently, which is pretty unique. That's the hard part. And people love the construction. And from there, it grew into foil boards, kite surf boards, and foil drive boards.
Wow. Yeah, when I hear apple tree, that's what first comes to mind is that special construction that does it pretty much mean if you have a ding, it's not the end of the world because the foam does not soak up the water? Is that what it pretty much means?
Yeah, exactly. That's aside from, having a really stiff and strong board, that's one of the most beneficial factors of it is it doesn't take on any water. So yeah, if you have a ding or even, a giant hole in it, it's completely fine. You don't have to worry about it. I've been riding my set board just in the back of my van here with a foil slash in it for a few weeks, and I think we got a spot here of no wind, so I'll get around to repairing it, but it's no rush.
I love that. I think I need that construction of my boards because I am the worst ding fixer ever. And I've now been told that you can fix dings with super glue and like any kind of sort of powder. And that's how I fix my dings now. It's atrocious. I reckon people that work in the industry would be disgusted by my ding fixes. But
I think you'd be surprised.
I literally I pour the super glue into like, a surface and then I like put in like, I don't know, like flour or anything. And then I just chuck a sticker over the top of it so then I don't have to sand it. So it goes flat, the sticker just pushes it together and then I've got a seal. So I don't know, and I don't take the sticker off because I don't want to know what's happening underneath it. So,
If it works, it works. Don't have to be pretty. I mean, I'm the same way.
so
I
yeah,
thank
how,
God I work for these guys because I'm the same way. Otherwise, my
yeah.
boards would look like a at-home quilting project or something.
So does that mean that there's any different way of fixing the board, or is it still the same way of how you would fix a board, even though it's a different phone?
No, same way. Yeah, yeah. Nothing, nothing different about it. You just, got to stay away from the poly-based resins, but you have to do that for most EPS boards anyway, so it's the same thing.
Cool. Well, I'm curious now, how is Apple Tree being received? Like, I know that with their special new foil drive specific board, the Zappel, I'm seeing a lot of that on the internet and a lot of happy riders that are purely foil drivers are buying that board, and it seems like it's going great. But I'm keen to hear from your side of sales if you're seeing a big jump in board sales in that region, or if it's still wing boards or downwind boards. Like I don't really know what's moving in the Hood River area.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Hood River's pretty unique, but yeah, Apple Tree had a really cult following for a while with Wing and Prone and Kite, and it was like a sort of a slow growth um, there, and then Foil Drive came along, and both of the Yort and Vherd, they absolutely love Foil Drive. That's like their favorite thing in the entire world, and they just sought out to make a board better suited for that. And that's where the Zappel came along. And for anyone that doesn't know, the Zappel is a trench board. So it, recesses your battery and unit into the board. So it's a nice flush fitting. And that board has taken off. It's been insane this year since we launched it back in January. Like what the Momentum Foil Drive has, this accessory and everyone wanting, it seems like the cleanest looking setup and just striving for that highest performance possible configuration for the foil drive. This board's been insane. Not only in the gorge, but yeah, just around the states in general. People anywhere from people out in Maui trying to drop in some waves, or here doing downwinders, or out in the lakes thieving boat wakes. All of that stuff. The Zappel's been going crazy. And the cool thing too is it's brought in a lot of people have been like, oh, like Apple Tree, this is a nice board. Like I like to wing as well. Maybe I'll look at one of their wing boards. So it's having that effect too.
Yeah, that's great. I think the first time I met the boys Yort and Vega, I think it was Yort was stuffing and I was foil
Oh
driving,
yeah, I
and
remember this.
he was halfway on the he was half he was halfway on the run, and I think he was having a bit of a shocker on the sup. And then I just buzzed up to him, and I didn't know him yet, and I didn't even know that he foil drove. I was like, "Do you know how to use one of these?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Like, and I'm like, "Well, let's swap because I can paddle up on the sup." I think from there we became mates because I put him out of trouble giving him the foil drive, and then I was able to have a sup all the way to the end. That was a pretty
But
funny
yeah,
moment, actually. That's the first interaction I've had with him, so he was pretty stoked.
I remember that for sure. Yeah, I was on that run actually. I just had ditched him at that point.
Because that was the reverse way. Like that's the first time I've ever done it too.
Yeah,
Where is it Stevenson? You go with the current.
yeah, sure. So and that was during AWSI. So yeah, that time of year the winds can switch around, and we actually like we predominantly get west winds here, which go against the current. Current flows east to west. Wind typically blows west to east. And then yeah, that was an east to west wind day, so an east wind. And it it's fun. East winds are fun, but it the bumps are small, real small, because it's going with the current, so it doesn't stand them up. It actually flattens them out a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was
Yeah, it is a strange setup, isn't it? Because like you see the bumps there, but I feel like they dissipate really quickly. Like by the time you get to them, you're like, oh, it's about to trough out, it disappears, and then you're already looking for the next one, and you can still downwind, but it's like it's just so tricky. It's so different to like the other direction that you go, where the bumps are just so steep and like they're so obvious.
yeah. Yeah, totally. It's a more technical run for sure. And the river, the way the river lines up in that run where you have to put in and take out, you're kind of navigating some bends and some shallow water too, which flattens it out a little bit. So yeah, it's more technical. It's still fun and you can still do it. It's just a different flavor. You're not just full on surf mode the entire time.
Mm. A little bit like training, hey? Or even just getting that run in because like you can't go the other way, so you might as well. And which blows my
Right.
mind is that I feel like what section is it that the wind splits? Like it can be going one way the wind and then the other way it could be going back to Stevenson. That blew my mind. I was just like, what is going on here?
Well, yeah, that can happen. It's not necessarily always a particular like zone. It just depends on the pressure gradients that day. And yeah, that can happen where it's, will be like a light easterly out east or up in Portland and it'll be blowing like 30 from the west at the hatch. It's crazy that way. It's really insane. Or it can be glassy, full on glassy here, people out in wake boats hanging out, and then you drive, 15 minutes towards Stevenson and it's blowing 30 from the east. It's a crazy effect. It took me a while to figure it out when I first moved here.
It's good to know because the very first year I went, I didn't know that. And where I was, like near White Salmon and stuff, I was like, oh, there's no wind. But probably like, 15 minutes down the road, it was probably blowing 30. I just had no idea. I didn't have that insight yet. So it's good to know. I feel like there's always wingers there, right? There's always people cutting back and forth and there's people always kind of in that zone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think now with like the sensors, if you pay for any of the apps, you can get a better look at it. But yeah, it's if you don't like the wind here, just drive 15 minutes and you'll find something you like.
So what is like the prime time of the year? I'm not trying to extract all the information out of the local, but like I'm just
No, it's
curious,
fine.
and I feel like I don't know if you don't feel comfortable, but like what is like, and I don't know if the locals are receptive to the out of towners, but what is the like what's prime time? What's prime time to go? Because I know everyone that foils now knows the Hood River, right? And like I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
no
it's kind of the
secret.
mecca. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's no secret at all. The and the locals are very receptive. Everyone's friendly, but it's summertime. It depends on again your flavor. Like springtime can be good, but it can be cold. I mean, you're rolling the dice if you come in the spring. Whereas summer, like in June 15th to September 1st, let's say, it'll go. It'll be boardies or a thin wetsuit, and you're pretty much guaranteed 15 plus nearly every day unless it's a heat wave.
So the heat turns it off if it gets too
Yeah,
hot.
yeah, heat will
Okay,
turn it off.
that's
We'll
interesting.
get a few heat waves of summer that will come in and it'll be upper 90s, low hundreds. And yeah, it'll just shut everything down. Couldn't really tell you why, but it does. And yeah, it's full glass out, and yeah, that's the only time it's not windy, pretty much. So in the summer.
Yeah, nice. I've been there the last couple of years for AWSI, which is more towards end of August, start of September. And I've been lucky, like the both times I've been, we've had wind. I think the first year I got a lot of wind, but the second year was a little bit more fluky, but I still got like a run that's east.
Yeah,
Rufus, is that the one?
but yeah.
That's I think that's what a lot of well, I think a lot of people go there for the hatchery, right? That's the famous spot because like it's visually you can see what's going on and the bumps are pretty crazy there. But Rufus is a bit of a different bump, right? It's more like a freaking ocean swell.
Yeah, Rufus is a different bump. Yeah, so I get like the best, the most popular spots at Downwind here are the hatchery, or even just foil, kite, any of the wind sports, not just downwinding, but the hatchery. And then as you move down the river, there's Lyle, but that's really kite only. And then you have Rufus and you have Arlington, call it A Town. And Rufus and Arlington are out east. So you drive pretty much from Hood River, the Gorge, which is nice, beautiful forest, and you drive about half an hour and you're in the desert, scorpions, rattlesnakes, no trees.
It does look like you're on Mars a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly it the climate changes. But yeah, the river just widens up out there and it's just a much bigger fetch and there's a lot more water moving. So you get these like gigantic just freight trains just rolling down the river. It's a much when it's really windy, it can be a little bit survival here. Like at the hatchery, everything gets like so steep and there's a lot of refraction off the walls and it gets a little chaotic. And then you go out there and it's just these like nice, clean, gigantic rollers that you can just play on for as long as you want.
Yeah, that's definitely a very special spot. And even just like the scenery while I've been foiling, because like I come from Sydney, which is like a full surf zone. To be able to be foiling and you're looking and it's just like these huge like walls of is it granite or something?
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't
it's like
know.
all deserty and I'm just like, where the fuck am I foiling? Like it's just
Yeah,
it
it's
seems
insane.
bizarre, dude. Like it honestly, and then like to come from like a surfing background where you're surfing ocean waves, and I'm like, I'm in a fucking river right now. And then like let alone it
I
looks
know.
like Mars on either side of you, like far out.
It's fucking trippy. It's crazy. I've gotten so used to it, obviously, living here, but it is really cool bringing someone that, hasn't done that run before, hasn't really been here out there because it refreshes your perspective. And yeah, it's a wild thing. And the river is like kind of like bowling with the bumpers up. Like you can just go out there and rip around and, have fun and kind of push yourself without too much. There's definitely danger, but it's not like you're out in the open ocean where you're kind of like, oh, I don't really want to have to paddle up a ton of times out here. Maybe I won't try this new trick. Like the river's just like, you just have so much fun.
Yeah, I feel like you guys there, like your little crew, are really pushing the surf style of what you can do on the downwind. Like I just jumped on your Instagram before and your like latest photo of you doing that full layback cutty on your sup.
But
Like
yeah.
so cool. Like you guys are freaking surfing the bumps. Like you're not just downwinding anymore. Like you're like surfing it like a wave. Like if people and then like watching Walker do those things that his dad does the follow drone, like that stuff's crazy. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it's cool what you guys are doing to the sport. Like you guys are really pushing.
Yeah. It's super fun. It's a bit of a product, like I said, of just like the conditions we have. It's really hard to go fast. Just the bumps move really slow and you're constantly pumping over one. You can't really like lock into one and really ride it out like you can in the open ocean.
Mhm.
So we got to get our adrenaline fix elsewhere, and they're just so perfect for ripping them as hard as you can. And yeah, Walker, that kid, his progression has been insane. If you haven't checked him out, his Instagram's McFlowy, and that kid started foiling like 3 years ago here.
Bloody kids.
Yeah, it's insane. I say that I'm only 29, but bloody kids.
Well, how old's he? Is he like 21 or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's 21, 22, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I think what I find the two times I've been to Hood River is that I don't like my cardio isn't cooked. It's my knees and my quads because
Yeah,
on a normal downwind, I don't surf. I'm not like every bump turning as hard as I can. And I probably like relate it to if you were to ride an actual wave on a surfboard and just be doing crazy cutties the whole time for like, I don't know, however long the runs are, like 20 minutes or whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you hop back in the car, straight back up the top, and you do it again. And I don't have like the best knee, and like I can feel it when I'm really pushing hard on the turns, and I'm like, yeah, I'll finish a day, and I'll have to like ice bath at the where the salmon come out, or what's that
Oh yeah,
bit
the
where the
white
bridge
salmon.
is?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, have to ice
Jump in
bath
there.
there and take some anti-inflammatories to try and soothe the soreness.
Dude,
But like, it's a good pain because it means that you've just been ripping all day. Like, it's pretty cool.
I know. Yeah, it's the quads, the calves. You're just in a constant squat mode the entire time.
Yes, that's it. Constant squat. There's no relaxing. It's like
Yeah,
you're
there's no
constantly
relax.
engaging in it.
And if you are relaxing, you're missing a bump and you're like, "Oh, that one looks so good."
So tell me, with your, you're probably the most experienced or one of the most experienced there, is the way that you're surfing these bumps downwind, you're to get those really critical turns, you're peeling off, right? That's the way to do it. Like you pretty much are facing back upwind to hit that wave, then riding out, and then you're just kind of repeating that. Is that correct? Or give us a little rundown of like
Yeah,
how to improve your surf style downwind, because I feel like there's definitely a technique that's different to normal downwinding where you're maybe more so moving forward, where I found whenever I'm at Hood River I'm moving backwards.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's a bit of a two-part answer, and it's sort of whatever floats your boat, really. But I find the best way to really get into a good turning flow and link some serious turns more so than just like making a hack and kind of like pumping yourself, find another way of making a hack and really be able to get into like a flow is, you have to wait for your section, obviously. And then when you're in it, it's actually in the turning section for me, at least, I find most of it's like sort of in front of me. So if you can imagine, like you're almost like on top of this wave moving forward, and the turn is basically just like you're turning at a cadence that allows you to stay in the pocket of this wave without getting too far into the trough or falling too far behind it. So you're kind of just like on top of this wave moving forward. It's not like it's peeling down the line or anything, and you kind of have to chase the pocket left or right. You have to chase it straight down. Does that make sense?
Oh, total sense. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture, and I also kind of want you to explain to the audience, because it's super subjective when you're talking about flow. And I know exactly what you're talking about by how maybe this is more of like a intermediate, like beginner style turn, is where you do a turn and then you have to pump yourself out of it to save yourself. And for me, that's not flowing. And I think that's what you were describing then, is like, for me, and I think for you as well,
Yeah.
are you talking about like the perfect flow would be pretty much not pumping? It's just you
Right.
zigzagging and connecting the
Right.
dots
Exactly. Exactly. That's what it would be for me, and maybe other people feel differently, but it's not having to like recover after every turn. It's being able to link everything together without, you know, pumping in between or recovering in between. And that's what I find the easiest for, like when I really get into a good wave, it's chasing the pocket in front of me, not like kind of kicking left or right. And then when that one runs out, then that's when what you were talking about, where you kick back a wave instead of like getting a wave in front of you, you're moving left to right to your next one, and then you're getting into it again.
of it. I think this is like such useful information because I feel like a lot of people have purchased foil drives to really figure out this whole downwind thing because I think it's such a useful tool where, learning how to sup and paddle up can take a long, long time versus with a foil drive, if you just zip up and you're on foil, you can practice pretty much what you just explained. And if you fall, it's you just
All
zip
good.
back up again. It's not going to like ruin you. Versus you see the guys at the hatch, which are putting in the hard yards, they're doing laps where they're trying to paddle up right at the hatch, and then they might go for a few 100 yards, and then they'll just ride the current back up to just keep doing laps there. But
Yeah,
I think with the foil drive, it's you can really fast forward that learning curve big time.
I completely agree. Yeah, the progression is so much faster, and you ride so much less timid when you're on the foil drive too. If you're just learning, like you said, once you get up on the sup, you're like, yes, I'm up, but I really don't want to have to do that again. So you ride a little
That's
timid. You
exactly
don't
it.
you don't push yourself. You don't want to like, creativity take over. Yeah. And then on the foil drive or maybe like a different device, but the foil drive in particular, you can really just try anything you want to try, really push yourself. And if you fall, it's all good. You're right back up and you're going again. That's really where I've been loving the foil drive the most. Is I haven't been doing so many like runs with like downwind runs with it in particularly, but like a lot of the times getting off, getting done with work, or after a day out there, the wind will sort of shut off around like 5 6, and you'll get this like hour sort of period out there where there's still bumps rolling down, but there's really not that much wind. And then I love to take out the foil drive then and practice, you know different lines that I thought of that particular day, or try to do like one bump drop back 360s, or try to do stuff that I will fall on, 9 out of 10 times. But on the foil drive, it's all good.
That's dreamy. That sounds so cool. Like you've still got the fetch of all the bumps, but the wind might have not shut off, but maybe dropped back down to 12 knots or 15 knots. And you can easily motor upwind and just keep. Is that what you're doing? Just doing laps at the hatch pretty much?
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of my like almost favorite features of the Zappel is the ability to just throw that board down on the water and just fire upwind. So I can still rip the short cable, and I'm not like I'm just like boards on the water and just going, and you're not like dragging the battery along with you. And sure, it's a little less efficient, but it's easy, and I like to do it. And we have this little like eddy. It's almost like this little like highway for your foil drive to go back upwind. It's just nice flat water, and then you just kick right back out on the bumps.
I think that's also a good point too, is that little highway that you're talking about. But I think what's also really important, and what I found last year, and I don't know if this is because I'm there when it's probably the most busiest time of the year, but it can get very busy at the hatch. And I think if you add into the mix foil drivers going back upwind, like something that every other discipline can't do, it really throws a lot of people off. So it's kind of nice that probably the best time is to go when the wind's dying and everyone's getting out. And then you've got the whole hatch to yourself pretty much, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you're gonna go at the hatch, I think that's the time to go late evening, as like when the wind sporters can't really, hit it the same way. There's so much river out there, like especially if you have a foil drive and you have the ability to like go access all these other zones. It's really no reason to be right in it with the windsurfers and wingers and going all these crazy different directions. It's almost like one of the nicest parts about the foil drive is being able to go find your own
Yeah, my most favorite is just before the hatch. What do you guys call that?
swell city.
That's the spot, dude. Because I feel like the
Yeah,
hatch sometimes, like what you explained, can get a bit wild. Like it's too refracty and it's just like cool. And then you're dealing with like someone else, like a windsurfer doing an air over you or a kite surfer, and it's just like
yeah.
there's a lot going on. Versus
You
I
have
feel
to.
like Swell City, it's a bit more spread out. The swell and the bumps are like more predictable, and you can really wind up to do something and then you don't have someone trying to cut you off or yeah.
Absolutely. You don't have to like be full focus on Frogger mode getting through the hatchery without running into anyone. You can focus on your mode.
Why do you think that is? Is that because hatchery is like that's the car park everyone wants to show off? There's maybe photographers there.
Yeah, I've that question has gone through my head a lot also recently with like, I get it for the windsurfers. Like that's where you park. It's a pain in the ass to go upwind for an extended amount of time on a windsurfer. They're just kind of like trying to stay in place. So I get that 100% for them. But for everyone else, there's so much space and everyone, I don't know. I think maybe it's you feel like it's just in a comfort thing. I can't wrap my head around it completely. Maybe showing off a little bit, but the waves are just so much better below or above and less people. Yeah, I would highly encourage to go explore a little
Yeah,
if you come here to go explore around than just off the point of the hatch.
totally. And I think that's a good segue to potentially maybe talking a little bit more about the etiquette thing because I know it's a busy place, Hood River, and I think it's, when we've got this new discipline of foil assist, it's nice to maybe lay out, if not laws, but just like a few etiquette things that, we have the luxury of motoring wherever we want versus like suppers or wind sport people, they can't really, they can maybe go upwind a little bit, but they're pretty limited to where they can go or the access points versus like we can just hop in anywhere and just motor wherever we want and then come back to the start. So I think maybe dive into a little bit about what you think is good etiquette there and how to respect other water users.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely think there's some good rules of thumb. I mean, I think I have a little bit of the luxury of like I live here, so for me, I can really go at the times. I can go whenever I want, and at the times that it's less crowded. And I get if you're coming on like a week vacation, like you're like I'm not gonna wait until 6 p.m. to get out there, and I get that, and that's okay. I think like we talked about earlier, it's like you're definitely the most, if not one of the most mobile crafts on the water, and your consequences for falling are, almost zero. And I think with that being said, like it's important to take into account, um, you know, the lines that other people are riding, and you know, maybe give way. Like I always try to give way to someone that's on a sup or a windsurfer that's lining up a ramp or in a wave or something like that. It's just so much harder for them to get that wave. Whereas like on the foil drive, it's so easy. Like just go get a different one. And
Mm.
that's how I feel um about it for the foil drive, and kind of just having your own space and no need to go muck it up with everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think a lot of people just need to be a little bit more spatially aware of the impact. And I think, when you've got the adrenaline pumping and you're frothing out, it's very easy to be tunnel vision on just what you're doing. But I think it's cool to understand maybe exactly what you're saying. Like maybe if someone has never windsurfed before or kite surfed before, maybe just sit in the car park and watch for 10 minutes what these guys are doing. They're literally going back and forth in the same area. So when you come up to that zone, maybe, yeah, give them the right of way because exactly what you said, it's harder for them to line something up versus we can just motor back up the river and stay in that spot. So I think that's a really good point, Sam.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, like it's not something that you have to, ruin your session worrying over, but that's about putting yourself in the right spot in position that you don't have to worry about that. I think that's really the most important thing is like just putting yourself in the best position to understand the movements around you, understand where people are coming from and what people are trying to do, and that way you can avoid it, and then you can go enjoy yourself and not have to worry about it the whole time.
Is there an etiquette with, say, if you get there and there's no wind or there's no wind in the morning with wake thieving? Is there such thing as that? Like there's rules around that, or is it kind of just like, if you look at your
Ye-
boat captain and they look cool, then you're good to go. Or
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. I haven't heard of any etiquette, and to be honest, the days that there's opportunity to wake thief are so far and few in between that I don't think we've really run into any issues.
yeah, no, and I've seen definitely a few of those barges going up the river.
But yeah,
Is there something to do with those? Like obviously steer clear because those things can't stop.
that's a great point. Yeah, the barges are absolutely no-go zone. Don't even give them a reason to think you might be in their way. That's really the one item that could really put a damper on the whole area, especially the hatchery, for everyone is too many barge incidents, and they've happened in the past, and I'm sure they'll continue to. But yeah, the barges are. It's really important to watch out for the barges, and they will sneak up on you for sure, especially if they're coming downwind upriver. Your back's to them while you're
Mm.
you know doing your zigzags, and then next thing you know, they're right on top of you. Or if the current's really flowing, the river's moving at 4 knots and the barge is moving too. They cruise. So it's just important to. Yeah, I think that goes back to what you said. Just be aware of your surroundings. Like, don't get too locked into what you're doing. Pick your head up and take a peek every once in a while.
Yeah, and from experience, don't try and cross the wake of the barge once it's past you because that water is so messed up. Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought like once the barge went past me, I was like, oh, I'll just go behind him on the other side now. And I went through his like not so much his wake, but the middle bit where the engine's pushing the water out. And geez, the water was so disturbed behind that for a long
yeah.
time. So
I
just
know it's
steer well clear of it.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's the other funny thing about the barge is like if I'm like getting right in, if I'm like about to get in for a run and I see a barge coming up the river, I'm like, man, it just screws up the entire section. I'll just wait. I'll just hang
Mm.
out, shoot the shit with some friends, and when the barge clears and then the bumps get back to normal, then you go.
Yeah, cool. So, run us through. I know Zappel, I mean, Apple Tree have a few different sizes of the Zappel. Do you want to kind of run us through those? And then also,
Yeah.
I'd love to know like what your favorite is. And I don't need, like, do you ride for a foil brand or you kind of just ride whatever gear or?
I ride all the KT foils. Yeah, those things are awesome. I really love them, and they're good to me. So, yeah, huge fan of those things. Um, so for the sizes of the Zappel, we've got the biggest, which is a 54 liter. It's 5'8", and then next size down is 5'4", 46 liter, and then the next size down is 5'0", 38 liter. And I ride mostly the smallest two. I actually like the middle one. I could do a 38 liter no problem, but the middle one is it just feels like for the way like I stand on the board, and it just feels the most like balanced through everything, and it's like almost feels like unlimited. Like I'm tired before with the big battery and how efficient the motors are, and with the little extra literage and the Zappel, it feels like I have unlimited session time almost. Like my body's done before the battery's done.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So yeah, that's
The
what I like the most. And we do have I haven't even gotten one myself yet, but we do have a more hope it's okay that I'm teasing this for her. Sorry about that, but we do have a more advanced, I don't know, yeah, more advanced for the smaller rider trench version coming out. I'm super excited for that
Damn.
particular board,
You
man.
heard it here first on the Four Jump podcast. It's
Yeah,
exciting news.
yeah, that one will be
Wow.
sweet. It's gone through some serious testing and making sure that it's right. But yeah, it's going to be in some smaller prone sizes, like the
Okay.
28 liter.
So not so, yeah, not so mid-lengthy, more like in the prone area, under 5 foot, maybe.
Oh yeah, under 5 foot. I you know I think the ranges are it's gonna be about from 4 foot to 4.8. Um,
Whoa, wow, cool.
yeah,
That's really cool.
pretty. Yeah, super excited about that.
And maybe the step up from the original Zappel, like so maybe if someone's ridden the Zappel for a year now, they're ready to upgrade into this more high performing one.
Yeah, totally. That's the idea. And just watch like what you and Paul and a bunch of the other foil drive guys are doing on a foil drive. It's like there's like people are pushing the limits of foiling on the foil drive, and um, that's what really the inspiration of this smaller board comes from. Um, it's just all not having any excuses to push what the foil and the foil drive can do. So yeah, the Zappel will still have a place in the lineup, for sure. These boards are hard. I mean, they're smaller. They're I'm sure they're harder to flat water start. So there's that. They're not going to be like quite as user friendly or for the bigger riders, but they're going to be sweet for the intermediate advanced riders really really looking to send it. I'm stoked to have those hit the market and see what the feedback is.
Have you been one of the R&D team? Have you been testing them?
No, I haven't been. I wish.
Oh,
I
damn.
wish. I really only like my foil drive craze has really only been super recently. When when spring came along, I just kind of like was knocking the dust off with things that I knew, just getting out on the paddle, and then I spent a lot of time pair winging, and then yeah, now I've recently been foil driving a lot, but by then it was pretty much R&D was done, so I missed out on it.
Oh, so it sounds like it. I don't. Yeah, sounds like it's probably pretty close to market. Then that's exciting.
Yeah, yeah, it's close. Um, it's close. It's coming soon. Are you going to be back at AWSI this year?
Yeah, yeah. I've booked in. We've got a place. I'm going to be there. I think the last week of August, sorry, and then all the way through to maybe the first week of September. Nearly there for 2 weeks, so I'm excited. I love that White Salmon Hood River area. I love just hanging out there, even if it's not pumping the conditions. Like it's just a beautiful town.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you'll see some. You'll
So, for someone who's maybe never gone to Hood River before and talking about your KT foils, what would you recommend for someone, in the intermediate range? Like, what size foil are you looking for if you want to just be foil driving and you
Yeah,
weigh, roughly, what is it, like 80 kilos or was it 100 and something pounds?
yeah, yeah. I'm 175 pounds, which equates to I think about 80 kilos. So yeah, for me, yeah. I guess it depends on what you want to get into. If you want to do like longer downwinders and that kind of stuff, maybe something a little higher aspect, around 800-900 square centimeters. And for me, I really like in the KT lineup, that's what I'm most familiar with. I love the Nomads, the 700 and the 830. They're not going to glide as well, but you don't need like the insane glide that you do maybe on the ocean here. The bumps are slower, they're closer together, and they're super steep. So you can really sort of ride more so what you would maybe ride even proning rather than like downwinding would be a recommendation from me. If I had to bring one foil, I'd probably bring something around 850, give or take, around an 8-9 aspect ratio, something in there. And that would get you out and you'd be stoked on almost every day, every discipline.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one for sure. Definitely. And then are you for so KT, they don't have an integrated, but what pod length would you recommend um for for Hood River?
So I use I think it's the 12. Is that the shortest one?
That's the shortest, yeah, 12 centimeter.
Yeah, that's what I use. I love it because of what I was saying where I whenever like I when I'm up, I'm just riding the foil really. I'm not ever. like hitting the motor, getting some extra juice or anything like that. And then if I'm going back upwind, I ride the board completely in the water. I might need to change that with these smaller boards coming out. They might not want to ride the water as well, but that 5.4 46 liter, it just rips, it skips along the surface. It's so funny. So I just like slam it all down in the water and ride the short cable length, and with the trench, it's totally fine for me. But yeah, to be honest, I haven't really experimented with anything else. I just kind of, that's what I put on originally, and that's what I've been using.
Well, what you've got, I think you've nailed it. I tell all the people that I teach on foil drive that if you're just trying to like excel at downwind, honestly, the shorter the cable, the better. And even if you can tuck your 12 centimeter cable to 10 centimeter, you're going to have way more success because I feel like if someone can already pop up on their foil drive and the next thing they want to do is start downwinding, if the pod is like more towards 15 centimeter, 20 centimeter, it just hinders them because every time the pod dips, their nose dives and then they make a mistake and then it's all over and then they start motoring again. So the harder that the pod's pushed up against the board, the more that you're going to learn to not use your foil drive, which I think is the goal when you're trying to downwind, and to stay high on your mast. So I think what you've done, you've nailed, and I think you'd be super surprised, even with these smaller models coming out, that you can still easily blast upwind with a super short cable. Like I think you'd be
Yeah, no
very surprised,
problem.
especially with your skill level. I think you could even slam that pod up higher to your board and still be skipping along the water and getting upwind. But exactly what you said, having the board hard against the water is exactly what I try and teach people. Like when people are kind of hybrid going in and out and doing that awful motor noise,
Yeah,
I tell them that they got to keep the board harder to the water. Like you got to get your board in the water, which is going to give you more propulsion. And if you've got a nice hydrodynamic board like the Zappel, it's just going to skip through the water. Like that's what it's designed for. It's designed to skip along the water and and release.
yeah,
So utilize that and keep the board hard against the water. The hard thing that I think a lot of people need to learn when they're going upwind is that you need to maneuver your board up and down the bumps as if you're on a pump track. So if you YouTube a pump track and you watch people going up and down over the humps, you have to mimic that, but going upwind. And I think you only really learn that from doing it and experiencing it, but you need to manage your pitch height even more than when you're on flat water. So it's just another skill that you need to develop, and it's definitely
yeah,
doable. And especially now with these trench boards, yeah, there's way less friction and then you add
yeah,
on an integrated mast and you're flying. Like
but
yeah,
yeah.
it's exciting.
I've never tried an integrated mast. That looks like the setup doesn't get much cleaner than that.
It makes a huge difference. Like I tried the integrated mast first and then I tried a trench board and they both to me felt like at least a 10% improvement in efficiency and performance. So that's 20% that you just added to your foil drive straight off
Yeah,
the bat if you got those two products.
yeah, I mean, hey, that's awesome. Yeah, that's sweet. I need that extra 10 for sure. All the help I can get, really.
Yeah. Even like I find with these integrated masks that because they're so sleek now that if you do through a turn dip the pod, it's not as much of a nuisance now because you still move through that turn and still come out of it, and it's like not a huge difference in drag. It's like more slimline now that like you can recover from that stuff easier versus like if you've got an original pod and you dip, like the nose noticeably comes down and like you can recover,
Yeah,
but like it kind of catches you by surprise sometimes.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean it's all those like incremental gains that are the difference between falling or keeping riding. So that's a good point.
We're rounding up near an hour. I don't want to steal too much of your time, but have you got anything else that you wanted to leave? Yeah, are people who listen to the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't checked out the Gorge and you like wind sports, It's a pretty special place. Everyone's super friendly. And there's so much else to do for your significant others if they're not into wind sports, kids, friends, for yourself too. Like, you want to ride a bike, you want to hit the breweries, you want to go for a hike, you want to go whitewater rafting, really, really whatever. Definitely come check it out. It's one of the best places in the world for downwinding. So much fun. So much fun. I was one of the classics, I'm gonna only be here for a couple months. Here I am 6 years later, still haven't left. Don't ever plan on it either.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Sam, for your time. I can't wait to link up with you when I get there end of August. Hopefully, rip around the river a bit, and yeah, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, hit me up when you're coming out. Let's link up, and thanks for having me on. Look forward to seeing you out here in a few months.
All right, see you, mate.
All right, cheers.